Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at the tech Vegito unit and how he performs against the game's hardest boss in the form of Cell Max. Now, as my usual disclaimer goes, the Cell Max event is an event that is best taken on with units that have incredibly high evasion, or have high levels of damage reduction, or have guard, or sometimes have both. So quite frankly, it's an incredibly tough and very difficult event. Now, Vegito does not have any of these requirements. He's going to be relying entirely on raw defense. Not only that, but his defense only builds up at pretty much a somewhat manageable pace. For something like Red Zone, or for something like, even SBR, I think his defense builds up at a decent pace. However, when it doesn't, in terms of like the Cell Max event, I think he can be a little bit too behind the curve. I am fortunate enough to have a Rainbow Vegito, so that does help. And we're going to be trying him out on the Realm of the Gods team. Now, just to kind of recap Vegito super quickly, he is a super type lead of Ki +4 and HP attack and defense of 140% when all allies attacking in the same turn include all 5 super types. He raises attack and defense on his super attack, disables the enemy's guard, and causes immense damage, which is all good. He has defense of 150% plus an additional defense of 50% when attacking. He launches 2 additional attacks, each of which have a medium chance of becoming a super attack, and he has attack of 20% with each attack performed, up to 200%. He has Ki +3 and a medium chance of performing a critical hit within the same turn after receiving an attack. Now, Vegito is never going to build up to the point where he's going to be able to tank Cell Max on the first slot. The only way to do this realistically would be to miss super attacks with pretty much every other unit and to kind of only have Vegito build up. Then it could be possible, but it would require a very particular strategy to get this to work. So all we're doing is we're just going to be prioritizing Vegito getting supers. Now, as you can see, we are using the God Goku, the SSG Goku, to tank for Vegito. This is super important because it allows Vegito to sit in the second slot. Vegito gains defense of 50% when attacking. So that means his defense is going to be dramatically increased by him being in that position. And you can see here he's getting multiple supers. This is also very good. You're going to want him to get, weirdly enough, multiple supers without critting. Ideally, he gets a lot of supers low on. In the early turns, no one crits, no one else attacks, and he manages to get 3 or 4 or 5 super attacks in. That's really going to dramatically improve how much defense he actually has when taking on the latter stages of Cell Max. Now, in terms of teams that Vegito's on that can currently take on the Cell Max event, it's a little bit difficult. I think, if I look at him as a unit and I look at the categories he's on, there are a couple teams that are well suited to taking on the event. So he is on Realm of the Gods. I think Realm of the Gods is 1 or 2 units away from being able to take on the event. They have some really top tier units for the Cell Max event. They've got the Int UI Goku, they've got the Super Saiyan God Boys, they've got quite a few evasive units, which does help quite a bit. Units like Whis, units like the UI Gokus and the MUI Gokus. So it does help. It's a little bit more RNG dependent, but there are quite a few strong options there. And then if we look at Power Beyond Super Saiyan, also very similar in terms of lineup. A couple small alterations like the SS4s, which are all available there as well. So that's pretty good. Then, if we look at the Future Saga team, I think this team is also quite strong. You have the Super Saiyan Trunks, Super Saiyan God Vegeta. You have the Android 17 and 18s. You have the Vegito himself, apologies. And then you also have Future Gohan, who's also decent, but he does need a Trunks in the rotation. But there are some pretty strong options there overall, which I think is pretty good. And I think, quite frankly, it could get it done. I do think they also, possibly like the Realm of the Gods team, one or two, situations away from being able to really kind of manifest and take on this event. But yeah, it's definitely closer. As you can see, Vegito, starting to really build up that attack and defense. He tanks more than fine the whole way through, which is very, very good. I think Vegito, to be fair to him, is a really, really big offensive unit, more so than being defensively sound. I think a lot of people will see Vegito and then assume, hey, like, he's much better defensively. He is, but realistically, it's not too much. Like, he's just more once he gets going, he can just really be so impressive offensively. It's just getting him there that's kind of the difficult part, I want to say. Now, with that being said, we've got MUI Goku, getting his transformation. We're now in the Tech Cell Max phase. So yeah, this is where units, by the way, like MUI Goku shine a lot. So having the ability to, dodge attacks and be so, useful is always really good. We are a bit unfortunate in that the strength god Vegito didn't stack enough, so he's just going to take a huge chunk of damage. But it's okay. We're here to see Tech Vegito, so he'll pop up. We'll obviously jump to another scene of him taking attacks from the Cell Max. But yeah, I think of his categories, there's quite a few that are close to being able to conquer Cell Max. I do think you could probably wangle Battle of Wits being an okay category as well. I think Patara is also somewhat decent, although it does need a little bit. But they also have quite a decent amount of evasion. It just really depends on what direction you want to go with him as a unit. But either way, I think it's still pretty good. I think overall it's a pretty good easy A. You don't really need to measure units by Cell Max. Personally speaking, I don't think it's wise. So yeah, but here we go. He's going to tank here. This is the perfect situation for him, by the way. So whatever he tanks here is pretty close to perfect. We could have supered once or twice more, I think. But yeah, realistically, this is as good as it gets for him. So yeah, that's it when it comes to the kind of like preface of it. We're now just going to see how he tanks and how he does. He's going to get hit by a super attack here first up, I think. So tanking super is obviously not going to really work out for him. Here you see he also could have potentially supered a couple times more as well. If he had got two supers or two additional supers there, his tanking would have been progressively much better. But tanking supers, he's never going to be able to tank. 1.7 million, no amount of supers that you get between then and now is going to really change that, unless you somehow manage to go to like turn 20 or something. But yeah, you're not really going to be able to cope too well there. Here, obviously, we're fortunate enough that the super attack falls on the Super Saiyan God Goku. He is one of the few units that can really tank it quite well, which is obviously very, very good. And then Vegito, we're going to see how he does against a normal afterwards. So Vegito, very similar situation for him, by the way. Very similar defense, very similar numbers. Additional supers, again, would help quite substantially. So getting one or two more additional supers would help him out. Here he managed to get one extra. If you maybe got one more, we'd be looking at something a bit better. But 183k, not terrible. A unit you can rely on to tank one attack, which is still impressive from Cell Max, but not necessarily a unit you're going to be able to stick in the way of 3 or 4 attacks. But one attack, pretty good. Let me know what you guys think, and bye.